Hey Toby, sorry I couldn't make it into the studio. This is your video lesson for today. Two things I want to talk about. Go down the list, and if you have any questions at the end of this or want me to look at anything, feel free to shoot that on over, not bothering me at all. So cool. So basically Fire wraps up, if you hear my assistant over here helping me today, could be making comments throughout the video probably. So Fire kind of serves a purpose as the end of like level 1. A student should at this point know their open chords like G, C, G, D, E minor, A minor, A, D. All those chords, they should know power chords, both partial, right, and then full power chords, as well as octave boxes, and then root 5, root 6 notes, and a handful of pentatonic scales, depending on what they're studying with me. And then the next things that we're going to do serve as entry into level 2 tunes. The chord progressions get a bit more complex. The power chords get more power chordy. They start moving around a little bit more of a challenge. So a lot of cool stuff coming down the road. Some more lead parts, some more like actually playing the lead parts of songs. Like say, "Gimme Shelter" would be a great one for you. The Solo for Fire by Jimi Hendrix would be a great one for you, which I'm going to talk about now in just a second. The technique for that, for Fire, is a lot of string bending. So to set that up, I think we already talked a little bit about string bending. I'm going to review it for you for today. So string bends. There are two basic types of string bends. There's a lot of different variations on it there, but there are two basic types. One is a whole step bend, and the other is a half step bend. Now, what does that mean? A whole step, if you remember, so musical distance, they're called intervals. The distance between A all the way through the musical alphabet, A, sharp, B, blah, 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 all the way back to an A, that is 1 octave. The same way that the distance from my house to your house as the crow flies is always a constant, right? It's always a fixed amount of distance unless something drastic happens, so hopefully it doesn't. So an octave is always 1 time through the musical alphabet back to the note you started on, right? And another important one to understand, another important interval to understand for musical distance interval is a whole step. A whole step on the guitar is 2 frets in either direction. Skeleton and sharks. Orca. Orcas too. Are they kind of dolphin?
No, they're not. They're some kind of whale.
They're some kind of whale. Oh, we'll go review that. Anyway, back to what we're talking about: music theory, or fretboard theory. Whole steps and half steps, right? So you have a note here. Say, take this 15 right here on the second string, right? A whole step would be 15, 16, 17. Would be that 17th fret right there. 15. We haven't gone anywhere yet. 1 fret on 16, 2 frets on 17. As a whole step going ascending whole step. We could have a descending whole step as well. We can't bend to it because you can't bend negative. You have 15, 14, 13. So that 13th fret is a whole step away from the. Thank you, buddy. So we have a 15. Just you wait. So 15, 14, 13. That 13 is a whole step lower than that note right there. So this note right here is D. And what you're going to try to do is we're going to target the note E right here. So to set that up for a whole step bend is you get 3 fingers on. They're facing diagonal, right? They're kind of, my nails are pointing back towards me, right? And then I throw my thumb over top for leverage. I'm going to hit the string. I'm going to try to bend up. You're scaring leprechauns now.
I'm not gonna do that.
Anyway.
Okay, I don't scare anything.
You don't scare anything? Okay, good. All right, so I'm gonna bend that 15. All right. Bend that 15 up to that 17 right there. That's a whole step bend. Now the trick is, how do you know that you're hitting the E? I've been doing this for a long time, so I'm gonna remember what that sounds like, and then I bend up to it. So someone new to all of this, the way to kind of know that you're hitting it the right note is by going on YouTube, and you can type in, since that note we're trying to aim for is E, right? Because we have D, D sharp, E. E is a whole step above the D. I find an E drone on YouTube People use it for meditation and aligning their chakras with the universe, but we can use it too for musical practice. I got my E right here, I'm droning E. I hit that string, I push it. And I dial it in, so I listen for the wobble. There she is, right? So you try bending up to that, you listen for them to start wobbling, and when that wobble goes away, you hear them join up together. You hear that wobble, and then you'll hear the note join up with the backing track or the drum note. You can also practice a half-step bend, which is only bending one fret away. For that, you would type in either D sharp or E flat drone note into YouTube, and you do that. You're just only bending one fret. You see those all the time as well. Right, so practice your string bends this week. Second thing is another level 2 exercise, which is the pyramid finger. Do this, right? You want a steep pyramid.
The shark cage.
So a steep pyramid's in the shark cage now. I'll make my piano bench. And there's orcas all over the place. So we have a pyramid finger like this, right? So what you're gonna do is we're gonna fret one string, or two strings with one finger. It's called a bar, B-A-R-R-E. A bar finger. Bars are probably the most difficult static technique that I can think of, not with like all this gymnastic stuff all over the fretboard. So we spend a lot of time throughout level 2 and level 3 working on getting a nice solid bar. And there's a lot of different drills we have to strengthen that, so that when we get to bars, that would be like one thing that would actually cause students to quit when I was a young teacher. I didn't know any better, and I was like, all right, just do this, man. Like, what's so hard about that? Right? And people would get to songs and they would try to, straight from open chords into bar chords. They do this like, oh, right, and try that right there, and they would always struggle getting this chord change, and then that would cause people to quit because they go, oh, I must not be good enough. No, that wasn't the answer. The answer was I didn't train them correctly. So first start with partial bars, and then do first finger extensions. Are you over here strengthening this finger up? Do exercises, right, to get that first finger strong enough to do this technique. And then the actual technique itself has to be looked at as well, how to get in and out of a bar. So lots of power chord drills for bar chord development. All right, anyway, so these 4 chords are the open power chords. They're the same kind of sound as this. So here's an A5 power chord, for example, right? We know this root 6, root 6 full power chord. This is a open position power chord. Sounds brighter to me. It sounds more bitey, I guess, if you could have the name described as some sort of adjective. Sounds more bright to me. And bands like AC/DC, Led Zeppelin, all those bands use these kinds of chords in lieu of these over here. So they'll actually swap out like the fretted power chords for open position power chords. So to practice these, to get these songs first, you must first practice the technique. Pyramid finger, right? I put my pyramid there. I'm going to do the first one here, E5. And if you look in the chord diagram, that line over top of those two dots right there, that means they're to be barred. So that's the symbol for a bar in chord diagrams. So I got my E5 power chord. I'm going to go a pyramid finger, right? So I have my pyramid like this, right? So I'm not down here like this trying to do it. My thumb is up a little higher, right? I am pointing at myself, right? The same way with the string bends, pointing at myself, doing the same thing here. Look, my finger's hyperextended. The tip joint is hyperextended in a pyramid finger. Like this right here, I'm pointing back at myself. I'm going to try to only get those bottom 3 strings for that E5. Notice I'm pointing at myself, I'm not doing this right here, just like that. All right. A5, you take that same thing and lower it down a string. And this string's 5, 4, 3. Now, if you look at this right here, basically what is happening is this. Fretted power chords, F power chord. It's kind of basically this. There's like a phantom finger right here, but instead of doing that, the convention is to do this. So if I had another fret here, I could just do this, but I don't, so I'm going to have to do that. My power chord. I have my A5 power chord, using the pyramid finger. Right? I have my G5 power chord. Right, so a G power chord sounds like G5 power chord sounds like this, fretting. A G5 is this sound. Like it says, sounds brighter to me. So a lot of bands like AC/DC, to cut through everything, they'll use those for the rhythm guitar parts. And then D5, so back to G5. G5 is basically just the G chord without the first finger right here. There's a theoretical reason as to why it's called G5 and why this works and why this is also G5. We can talk about that more in person though. Then you have a D5, which is basically a D chord, basically is a D chord without the second finger, and you use the flesh of your ring finger to mute that first string. So you want to memorize and practice those chords switching to and from them, especially the G5 to the D5. I would actually spend a fair amount of time practicing that transition right there, because it is, the next song we're going to work on is this. Put a little distortion on. A5 power chord. First finger extension to strengthen our bar card. Highway to Hell by AC/DC. So this is the prep for that song right there. Make sure you practice those pyramid fingers, practice that G5 to D5 transition, and we'll dig into that song. If fire looks good, then we'll start that song next week. Awesome, man. If you have any questions, I'll see you in a video next time and then in person the following. Take care, man.